Hello everyone, my name is Ethan Rooshock, and on today's episode of Unique Wealth Building, I sat down with Matt from Retro Gaming. Matt has a really cool business, so he sells retro games. So whether it's from the Nintendo 64 or the PlayStation 2 or the PlayStation 1 all the way through to PlayStation 5, he's got a crazy amount of games and so many of them play back to those childhood memories. I love checking out what he's got in his business, and I really loved having this chat with him. I think there's some great tips on there on running a business that's around your passion and running a modern business and how you can market it in a modern way. So I hope you enjoy the chat that I had with Matt. All right, well, everyone, welcome to another episode of Unique Wealth Builders. Today I've got Matt from Retro Gaming here.
Hey guys, how you going? My name's Matt. Thanks for having me on. It means a lot. Like I love doing interviews like this and
I really appreciate you
helping.
giving up your time. And yeah, I'm really excited to chat to you because you've got such a cool business thing you're doing. I think a lot of people are going to go, oh, wow, like you can chase passions and do business. So give me a quick brief overview of what your business is.
So I sell video games, like old video games from the Nintendo Entertainment System up to modern video games like the PS5, and I've just been reselling, basically flipping them and adding value in through eBay, and then my own business, Retro Gaming, now, which I work on 24/7, and this is my life, and I love it.
Yeah, I can see that just from what's behind you there with all those games. And the retro gaming concept is such a cool idea because I'm sure, like most people in our generation, grew up gaming, and you see those. You just don't see it anymore because obviously in the stores, you see the stores that are going out of almost physical games at all. But whenever
Yeah.
you come across one of those retro style games from one of those old consoles, it straight away takes you back to whether it's a PS2 game or whether you're older than that, 64 or something like that, and you're going, oh, geez, I remember playing this. And yeah, it's such a nostalgia hit. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons why you would have got into it.
Oh yeah, I love the stuff as a kid, and to be able to make money and sell them was just I was always interested in business, and it really hit me as a really cool thing to do. And like even you mentioning that, like I think I take it for granted, like being able to see as many games as I do have behind me. Like it's crazy. Like when do you ever see this amount of games, like old school games in one place? It's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's one of the cool parts. I remember when I was running an online retail store, and it was one of the main reasons I was doing it because I was like, oh, I don't have the money to go start a full on collection at 20 years old. So I was like,
Yeah,
well, if I'm selling them, one, I've got them in my house. I get to see this stuff on the regular basis. They might not be mine as such, but they're still there, and I get to see some of the cool things that maybe I couldn't experience. And so business is a way of me to not only one learn about business and obviously try and generate a profit, but
yeah,
also to actually get me to experience things that maybe I couldn't afford to do.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so beneficial. It's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. Like I think I take it for granted nearly every day, but it's so much fun. Like I don't have a boring day. Like I don't wake up in the morning and think, oh, I have to do this. Even postage for me, like sure, it can get tedious when doing those long things like we're just discussing, but like inevitably, like I put a movie on, like I just, it's not really that bad for me. I really enjoy every second that I have in here and working. It's really fun.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. You can be your own boss. You can do what you want. Like you said, you chuck a movie on, you chuck TV on, you chuck music on, and you
Yeah,
can do that. So for me, your unique wealth building strategy is by building a business that is unique to you and is something that you obviously love doing. And I've talked about it before, is that building a business isn't all about being profitable on day one. It might even be profitable on year one, year two, but it's
mm,
building an asset there that it's going to build up a name. You're building up a marketing brand behind it. You're obviously
yeah,
building a stock base, especially for retail, and you're building loyal customers, and all those things pay off in the long run. And
yeah,
the lessons that you learn along the way, especially when you're young, starting business, is crazy what you
yeah,
learn. I learned a lot doing retail business that then I could apply into an accounting business. And it sounds crazy that they cross over, but the
yeah,
lessons in business allow you could start another 10 businesses in your life, and those lessons you've learned early on would be massive. So what made you want to go into business? Was it an interest in business? Was it an interest in obviously gaming, or was it a combination of both?
Inevitably, I think originally it was about making money and just being able to slowly build some money up, and that's how it started out. I was in year 11 when I started selling games,
Okay.
so yeah, so I was, I was in business class, and I remember sort of just, typing it up and finding out that I could sell these games. And I was like, wow, it's really weird. And I was like, oh, I could flip this, I can make a bit of money. And then as it kept going on, like, I didn't really keep track of the money. I think as my accountant, like I'm completely on top of everything, but I knew that I was making money consistently. I knew that I was making like a really good amount of money for my age as well. So I just kept pushing it and pushing it as far as I could. I'd buy bundle after bundle. And, obviously you come through a lot of areas where you don't know what you're doing and you have to sort of figure it out, and those learning curves. But after you get through them, like, things pan out, things get a lot easier. And then especially when I transferred from eBay to building a retro gaming business, like, obviously I poured so much money into the business, and like there's so much time. Like, eBay is one thing, like, that's not even a quarter of my time. It'd be about a quarter of the time I spend working these days is on eBay stuff, because all of it's pushed into retro gaming. And like, I love it, but it is a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of money. And I probably don't pay myself my time. So like you were saying, like, it's not really paying off. It's not even probably paying off yet, but I know that eventually it will. So I'm happy where I am at the moment. Like, so
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think that's the thing I've talked about before. If you start a business, if you don't love it, it's
yeah,
definitely going to be a massive grind for you. And when you start out, there's just lessons that you would have never thought you'd have to learn. I remember when I was selling online, the first thing I
yeah,
sold it and then thought, oh, how am I going to package this? I hadn't really got that far along in my thought process. It was like,
yeah,
oh, I can sell it, but I didn't know the actual technical side to, well, what do I wrap this with? What does it need to go
yeah,
in? I knew kind of approximate costs of what it would be, which I was around the mark,
yeah,
but the actual process of doing it from start to finish took me a long time for the first item, and you don't recoup your
yeah,
time early on, and you've got to learn
yeah.
those lessons, and you don't know what the lessons you need to know until you start.
I even with postage, like, now that I think about it, like, you got to get a letter, you got to get a return address on it. You've got to potentially get a tracking label if it's an expensive item, and you want to make sure that it doesn't get lost. Or you have people who will like lie to you on eBay saying that it didn't arrive and didn't have a tracking. Like, there's so many little issues you got to try and work around, and eventually you might not care about some as much as others. But like, I used to write on my letters all the time, and now I stamp them and
Yeah,
put stickers on the labels and stuff. But it's just like a progressive system of, when you get more orders, you have to simplify things to make it faster. And it's
yeah, definitely.
interesting. It definitely will integrate into any other business that I ever run, in the future, hopefully.
Yeah, it's all about learning, and you learn how important continuous improvement is on processes. And I think
Yeah,
that's a really
exactly.
key thing, is that continuous improvement in every section of your business. And it's not completely changing something overnight. It's just doing
Yeah,
those little tweaks, and you might tweak something today and then a week later go, oh, hang on, I've got to change that again. And eventually you become more efficient until you
yeah,
run into the next problem and you work on that. And it's just a constant
yeah,
improving thing. And you see businesses that go under is because they stay stagnant and they don't move, and they just go, oh, well, it
yeah,
works. And, the classic example is Netflix versus Blockbuster. And Blockbuster was
yeah,
definitely a nostalgia hit for me for gaming, because you'd go and you'd hire games. But that business
yeah,
model, they thought they had it all, didn't change. And then look what happened. They don't exist anymore. So speaking of gaming, you obviously must love gaming. Is there like a
yeah.
particular memory from childhood or particular consoles that really you remember as your first experiences with gaming?
Yeah, I used to play the PlayStation 2 a lot. There's a lot of photos my mom would take me playing that. And my friends next door used to have heaps of consoles, like the GameCube and DS and Game Boys. Just like, I remember so many of my childhood, just even going over to people's houses and just playing video games. So like, lots of fun there. So it's always nostalgic to really get in deep in some of those games that I'm testing them, or just, spending some time messing around. It's always a lot of fun. So I do enjoy that part of it.
Yeah, you're a few years younger than me, but I definitely was PS2 was probably my biggest console that I had as a child.
Yeah.
Like we had a PS1 before that, but my early memories of gaming was me sitting there watching my mum try and learn how to play the games, because me and my brother, we were too young to even know how to play Croc and
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot back in the day, and we just couldn't work it out. And then I remember getting a PS2 and a Nintendo 64 at similar times. The 64 was on its way
Yeah.
out, but just loved
Yeah.
Mario Kart and GoldenEye and all
Oh
those
yeah, for
games. And it was
sure.
just the
Yeah.
hours that we'd spend, and you'd have friends come over and the old split screen multiplayer, and you'd sit there and you could play for hours. And half the time, you probably didn't really even know the in depth. I remember playing GoldenEye all the time, but we never touched the campaign mode. It was just chuck on multiplayer and just play whatever kind of crazy games you'd come up with in the games. You're just making things
Yeah.
up, and it was just an extension of what you would do with your friends, and it was just another activity that you loved doing. And those Game Boy
Yeah.
nights of playing, we were Pokemon, so you'd sit there and you'd all start the game at the same time and race through it, and you'd be we probably didn't message back then. It would be phone calls or when you catch up next, and where are you up to? And yeah, it's just
Yeah.
such a massive part of my childhood, and I don't get to
Yeah.
game as much as I'd love to these days. But when I see the nostalgia things, I still love it.
Yeah. Well, I don't get to game as much as I do either at the moment. Like I'm just playing through the new Pokemon Diamond on my Switch, but I've had that for a week and I've played maybe 5 hours, and like I want more time to play through it, but I'm just so busy right now and it sucks. But
Yeah,
yeah, just getting those chances, there's so many memories, and that's the fun of it. Like I love being able to bring the nostalgia back to people as well. Like it's really it really touches me sometimes because I can see it touches other people when they message you like, wow, this is amazing, thank you so much. I'm just like, that's okay, I love it. I'm
yeah.
happy that you're happy. Like
I think
that's what I
the cool part about that type of business, and it really should be your goal with any business, is the goal with a business is how can you provide value to the person on the other end, whether it's a customer or client or whatever it is. And
yeah.
I think sometimes you lose track of that sometimes in retail, not realizing what you're actually providing. And obviously,
Yeah.
some things are very transactional, but what you're doing is it's that memories. And I think back in the day, there was so many little games. It wasn't the big game developers like it is now. Every
Mm.
TV show, every movie had its spin-off game.
Yeah.
And you remember
Mm.
playing the old Simpsons games. You had Hit and Run and Simpsons Wrestling and all these different things. And you don't remember them, but when you pick that back up and you go, oh, this is cool. And that's what you're probably delivering to people, a lot of value that they
Yeah.
go, wow, this is cool. And it's taking back to whether it's a childhood thing they did with an old friend or did with a sibling that maybe they don't get to see as much anymore. And I think that's really cool. It's connecting
Yeah.
people to other people and to childhood memories. And that's a really cool value add to your business that you definitely should try and remember is why you're doing it, is it goes
Yeah.
beyond just for yourself.
Yeah. And I 100% agree. It's all about that for me. I love every bit of it.
No, definitely. So, on the actual technical side of the business, because obviously you can't just ring up a supplier and go, "Yeah, I'll have a shipment of PlayStation 2 games."
I
So, how do
wish.
you
Yeah.
actually go about sourcing your stock?
Um. So yeah, I live in a small local town, Port Macquarie, and I buy a lot of my stock from just locally. To be honest, and a lot of people ask me, how do you get all these games, and I'm just like, go on Marketplace, go on Gumtree, like it's not that hard. And although over the years I've found like a few people who will, do the same thing in different areas and they'll sell it to me for a lot cheaper, and then I can, pick out my good stuff for retro gaming, sell the averager stuff on eBay, and it allows me to get a good markup on things. And I have other people across Australia who do the same for me. Like it's all about just building people to and then just finding those local cheap buyers as well is always nice.
Yeah, it's a really interesting model because it's so different to normal retailers. You can't just rely on suppliers to supply that, but you got to
Yeah.
put in those hard yards and find the things. And I imagine there'll be a lot of people that have got collections and one, don't even know what they're worth because they probably just think that they're all trash, or two, don't
Yeah.
care and they just want to get rid of a bulk lot of games. I know in the past we've had bulk lots of games that we probably have just got rid of because it was like you don't play an old console and you go through that. I suppose it's that awkward age of things where they're not old enough to be retro, but they're not modern
Yeah.
enough to really anyone to care. And I guess it goes through generations that at the moment it's probably a PS4 Xbox One games are probably not really worth a lot in most cases because they're there. But in 5 or 10 years' time, when they're not that demand of it, suddenly people go, "Oh, that's
Yeah.
nostalgia and retro," and that's when I guess things change. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a challenge, I guess. Anything where you don't have a conventional sourcing method, but the margins you can
Yeah.
normally make on things are much better because you can buy a bulk
Yeah.
lot of things at $1 a piece, and there might be a gem in there that's worth $50, and that covers your whole thing, and you've
Yeah.
got plenty of other stocks. So I imagine that's cool. Do you have any particular items or finds that you've had over the years that really stand out to you as well, or something just really cool, or something that end up being really profitable?
Yeah, I had a garage sale. This was 4 years ago. I was probably in year 12, that I went by. And I think it was these two guys, and I think their mum had just closed down a store locally, and they just had these boxes of just old games, just like a ridiculous amount. And like no one was going to it. I remember I dropped by with my mum, and I was like, I had them $200 with me. And I was like, I bought like what I could, because I only had $200. And but like they was selling, they gave me like a whole bag with a GameCube and about 30 games, like even Paper Mario, which is worth $200. Like that was in there. And they're just like, oh yeah, you can have it for $80. And I was like, no way. So I grabbed that for $80. And I was just grabbing, there was like a bag of Game Boy games, like, 30 Game Boy games. I'm like, yeah, how much is this? Like, I have no idea what's in there. I saw some Pokemon games. I was like, yep, how much this? I didn't know the prices as well back then. But I was like, how much is this? They're like $30. I was like, sweet. And then I went home, and then mum was like, don't go back there. And then I went to the bank, got more money out, and then went straight back and bought as much as I could. Like I was buying everything. And I think I probably made like 6 or 7 grand off that day. But like for a kid in year 12, it was so huge. Like I was picking up like, watermelon N64, like they're worth like $450. Like it was insane.
Yeah,
It
it's
was really
crazy.
fun.
Garage sales are definitely an interesting one. And way back,
Yeah.
I reckon I would have been probably year 11 or 12, and I wasn't selling things, but I used to be a massive wrestling fan. I used to just collect the DVDs because you couldn't watch them anywhere else unless you had a DVD
That's it.
copy. And so I had all these ones, and I had a list. I had a list of every DVD and was trying to tick ones off my list. But back then I
Yeah.
was working a little bit, and to go drop $25 on a DVD at the store was a lot of my money. And I remember mum ringing me one time saying that she was at a garage sale and they had some wrestling DVDs here, and would I be interested in any of them? And I said, oh yeah, what have they got? And started listing them, and I was like, oh, well, can you offer them to take them all? And I think I got probably about 70 or 80 DVDs for like $50. And it was just
And
a crazy, I wasn't interested in selling them, but I had some double ups, and just in what I sold of 5 or 6 of them covered the cost of what I paid for. And
yeah,
suddenly
it's insane.
and I was like, if I was actually selling them, I was like, I probably could have got $1,000 off that $50. And it's those
Yeah.
crazy finds that it might be 1 out of 10 that you find something like that. And it might be on a
Yeah.
smaller scale, but there's definitely the opportunity. And it shows no matter what your passion is that there's a way that you can monetize it. And I think that's
Yeah,
really
for
cool.
sure.
Is what you're doing is that it's teaching you a lot about business, but it's definitely monetizing what is a passion.
I think it really teaches anyone more. Like I tell lots of my friends, like try reselling, because I feel like it's a skill that you can do no matter what, especially with everyone having access to the internet. You have a camera on your phone, like things like Depop if you're interested in clothes, or just anything if you're, on for eBay, like you can sell anything these days and make a profit if you just sort of spend the time researching a niche, or just finding out information. Like I know nearly everything about video games now. Like you could show me one video game and I'll be able to tell you a really rough price of how much it's worth. And like that, I find that is amazing skill for me. Like I'm just like, I can go to an op shop and just look at the games there and know which ones to buy based on how much I know I've sold games for like that before. So,
Yeah, it's a
that's
really
what's
cool thing. And I'm
yeah,
going to do a video in the future on me and my partner have gone to op shops the last couple of weeks, and just to try and
yeah,
do a bit of flipping with no experience. And it's definitely a challenge. It's not just easy to go, oh yeah,
yeah,
anyone can do this straight off the box. We're like, oh wow, we
yeah,
can see the potential there, but without knowing it and without
yeah,
honing in on, I mean, I think the idea of you doing the gaming thing is really awesome because it allows you to really hone in on a particular area, and you can go in there and go,
yeah,
okay, I can look at 20 games and within a reason, probably know a price for 18 or 19 of them pretty
yeah,
accurately that you can go, yeah, that's worth me buying or that's not. And I guess
yeah,
that's the risk with flipping is it's easy to get caught up in that nostalgia and walk in and go, oh, here's a PS1. Oh, yeah, I know they sell. I'll buy it. But if you haven't got your margins right and you haven't got your
yeah,
initial price point right, it might not be
yeah,
worth it. So just because
yeah,
something's old and has value, you've still got to get it at a price that makes sense. So I
yeah,
think that's really interesting. So with money motivations, I've talked to a few of the guests about this, and everyone's motivated by different things when it comes to money. And yours, obviously, by running a business, I can see it's so passionate. But what is your motivation behind money? Are you heavily money inclined, or is it more so wanting to free up your time and do something you love doing?
I'm not really too sure. Like money isn't a very huge thing in my mind. Like, I lose, I lose money, I make money. Like for like the last 5 years, I've had all my friends have a normal job and they just get paid weekly. They put money away, they do all these things. And I'm just like, I never have, I didn't even pay myself a wage yet because I just keep working as hard as I can. I put the money back into the business and
Yeah.
I'll take money out if I need it. It's like if I need a bit of money, I'll just grab it, and that's how I work at the moment. And like that's just how I work at the moment. It's really weird. Like at the moment, I've got a van for the business that I'm also doing up, and that that is what I'm pouring my money into. That isn't the business, but other than that, like it's just if I'm doing stuff. But I don't even do that much stuff. I might go on a small trip to Sydney and spend a few $100 just on like Ubers and food, and that's it. And then
Yeah,
I'm
I
back
think that
to
really
working.
shows if you the way people get caught out when they start businesses is that they have a lifestyle that requires a large amount of money to fund. And if
Yeah,
you're working a job and you're earning 70 grand a year and your lifestyle fills that 70 grand a year and you need every dollar of that, for you to go
yeah,
start a business from scratch and earn 70 grand in year one is incredibly challenging
yeah.
without
No
them
way.
working a second job or stuff. So if you can keep
Yeah,
those expenses down, then you don't
yeah,
care about, oh, I need to draw $1,000 out of the business a week. Like you said,
yeah,
one, you're loving what you're doing. So you're
yeah,
already enjoying that side of things. So you're ticking that box of, you're not necessarily chasing, oh, I need a hobby outside of this because, I hate my job and I hate going to work and therefore I need
yeah,
seven other things that I do that makes my life worth living as such. You're doing
yeah,
something you're enjoying anyway. And I think that's the really interesting thing that everyone has a different thought when it comes to money. Some people, it's in the forefront of their mind. And for me, it
yeah,
probably is more so purely because I'm dealing with numbers all day. So I'm
yeah,
not overly driven by money. I don't need to earn 200 grand a year. But for me,
yeah,
money's there because I obviously have to talk about money. So I need to be well educated on it. But it
yeah,
has to be that. But for other business owners, it's not necessarily about, you haven't got the goal there. I need to make 100 grand a year to be happy. It's, well, obviously, I need to earn some money to live and want to do some things. But I love
yeah,
what I'm doing. And that's the main focus at the moment. And that might change for you in 5 years' time when you might go, I want to start taking a bit more money out of this and start
yeah,
doing a bit more things outside of it. But if you're not willing to dedicate in those first few years to really grow a business, and
yeah,
I've had to do the same myself with put the hours in and grow something that might not be returning that I could go and work a wage and earn more money per hour to start with. But it's that
yeah.
long term mindset.
Yes. So look, and like I'm enjoying it. Like you could go work a wage. Like I could have gone to work plenty of wage jobs and earned, I could be sitting on, 100K at my age. But I'm probably, to be honest, I'm probably not that far off if I sold everything. But at least I got the asset of the business, and just the experience and the lifestyle that I've been able to live through it as well. It's so amazing to be able to do this sort of work. It's easy. The money's just not an issue to me. I really don't think about it that much. I'm guessing like I don't think about it because I've been pretty good. Like I've been making enough money over the past few years that I'm sort of happy at my age to be where I am. Like where all my uni student friends are making, nothing compared to me, and they're working, every second day, and I'm just like sitting in here watching a movie, listing some
Yeah.
stuff online, you know whenever people come over, they're always just like, this is insane. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty mad.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
think that's the thing. You
it's
build something that's
it's cool.
successful and it looks after itself. So, obviously, on my
Yeah,
channel, I talk a lot about technical sides of money and tax and stuff like that. And it's always
yeah,
interesting to speak to different people because even as a business owner, everyone has a different approach to those kind of things. So, something like
yeah,
tax, do you
yeah,
even know much about it at all? Do you care to know much about it? Or, like, because obviously, as a business owner, you have to have some understanding of the real basic concepts, but
yeah,
everyone draws a different line as to where they go, you know what, I know 5% of it and I don't want to know the rest. Or what's your thoughts on
yeah.
that?
Well, I'm sure you'd know how much I know about my taxes. like I knew some basics, but changing accountants and eventually finding you was always great because it just you knew exactly what I needed for my business, and I think that's the thing that I never really knew because it's such a new thing selling online is that no one really knows what the small little details are to do with the
Yeah.
tax laws there, and you've helped me a lot out with a lot of those things, but I don't know. It's never really been too much of a worry. Now that I have to pay GST, that's a bit of a new concept. But everything before then, I understand how it works, and it doesn't really bother me too much. Like everyone has to pay tax. That's how it goes.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. If it's all about filling the gaps of where your knowledge is lower or you don't care as much, and you fill that with
Yeah,
people to help you, and that's what I do
yeah,
that myself. Is if there's stuff I don't know and I don't want to do, you have
yeah,
someone else either do that for you or do 90% of that, and you just fill the gaps of it. And I don't
yeah, for
think
sure.
people get caught up in business and in life in general, always trying to work on their weaknesses and forgetting
Yeah,
about just doubling down on their strengths and going, well, this is what I'm good at. Yeah, I want to
yeah,
have a 5 or 10% knowledge so I'm not getting screwed over by other people in other areas. But let's make sure what I'm good at, I keep working on that and I can get someone
yeah,
else in to do the other things. And especially in business, is that, when you start out, you do every single part of it. That's just the reality of it. But
yeah.
eventually you work on the things that pay you the most or bring you the most happiness, and that's what you focus on. So what about just general education on money? Is it how did you first start to learn about money? Because obviously it's not something that you're overly passionate about, but in general of like budgeting and stuff like that, did you have experiences through whether it's family or friends or whether it was school, or has money really just never really been something you've given much thought?
Um, I don't know. I've known that I've had to save it and to always keep some savings and emergency funds and stuff like that. And I try my best with my money, but with the business, it's always for the last 5 years, it's been very hectic. Like I haven't had the time, and only now in the past few months I've been thinking, okay, I'm making enough money now that I have to be starting to, next year I'll probably start putting money aside for myself so that I can invest in and put some money away for my future, because it's always just been a rinse and repeat. Okay, I make some money, I'm going to put it back to this. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And I always get my friends going, you need to save money. I'm like, I'm investing in myself. There's no better
Yeah,
investment. Like, that's all I care about at the moment.
yeah.
So like I said, I spend money where I want, but I try and save it and try and work for the business, and that's my goals at the moment with my money.
No, definitely. I talk a lot about investing and things like crypto and stuff, so I'm going to touch on that in a second.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
think
go
it's
for it.
definitely a mindset that people don't understand is sometimes just reinvesting in your own business is going to pay you more return than anything else. And I
Yeah,
suppose you know that from a retail thing. If there's a fine that you've got there and it's $500, but you know that you're going to be able to sell that for 1,500, well, that's
yeah,
that's a 3x return on what you've put in. Good luck
yeah,
going and finding that by putting that in a bank account or
yeah,
investing in some shares. Like, so at times you have to go, well, I'm going to invest heavily in the business. And there might be a time
yeah,
later on where you're going to go, oh, well, now I want to diversify a bit. I've got the business asset and want to make sure I've got whether it's property or shares or crypto or whatever. But when you're
yeah,
going early on in the business, sometimes it just makes sense to pump as much money. And I was the same in the first probably 18 months of my business. I barely took a dollar out besides
yeah,
paying back myself for a little bit of what I put in. But it was like, oh, I'm better off to pay for more marketing, or, I end up doing a YouTube channel. So it was like, okay, I need to buy a microphone. I need to do this and reinvest in that way rather than
yeah,
sit there and go, well, I want to draw every dollar of my time out. So things like
yeah.
investments in crypto, is that kind of stuff that you've really ever given much thought, or is it at the moment it's just like business and that's it?
I do have a bit invested in crypto. I have a bit invested in Ethereum at the moment, but like I wish I had the time to research it more. I just don't. So, I go off a few of my friends, when they tell me, and there's a few things I'm looking into at the moment that are investing in that they think are going to do pretty well, and I've seen them do pretty well. And so, it's an interesting area for me, but sadly I just don't know enough about it to really put my heart into. But I know that eventually, like, it looks like it's going somewhere. So, I'll pour as much money as I'm willing to lose into it, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think that's a key thing. It's what you're willing to lose. And I think when you're young
Yeah,
in particular, you can get caught up in all your friends, and I invested $1,000 in this share, or I bought this property and I made this and I did that, and you get caught up in it, and it just gets, you don't know what to believe, and people love to make up a great story of, oh yeah, I've got this much, when in reality they don't. And I suppose I see that as an accountant, people that portray this I'm rich lifestyle, and that's all they care about, and it's definitely interesting.
Yeah,
Or they just, like we keep talking about, they don't understand that you're investing time and money into growing a business asset, and a business asset, might trickle along like this before it eventually goes like that. At the
yeah,
moment, it's all the hype that people invest in crypto and it goes like this, but then they don't forget that it goes like that the
yeah,
next week. So yeah, it's different. Something else I talked about a bit on my channel, and I'm talking about it quite a bit, is NFTs. Have you heard of NFTs at all?
yeah. I've heard of NFTs. I'm still questioning the validity of how they'll work in our society, but I have seen them and I do understand. I feel like the market's a little saturated with them,
Yeah,
but I do respect people. I think it's Beeple. Is it Beeple? Is he the main
yeah.
the main? Yeah, I do love his art, and I think it's a cool space for visual like design artists to do and sell art like that. But I don't know, it's being pushed a little far in some areas.
Yeah, I think oversaturated is definitely the
Yeah,
word of a lot of things that just have no value, that people are just trying to hightail in, and it happens in
yeah,
every industry. But people go, oh, crypto's an example. Crypto punks go well, so everyone wants to make something that's a variation of that,
yeah,
not
exactly. Yeah,
realizing that things that. And I think the NFT space for gaming is going to be insane, because a lot of
yeah,
games are shifting to everything's in-game currency, and you're buying, people are
yeah,
dropping
yeah,
crazy amounts of money on, I suppose I see it with sports games, FIFA points, or whether it's Fortnite, people are paying for skins and stuff, and you can't do
yeah,
anything with them. The game, it says on there normally
yeah,
pretty much you can't resell these to someone else. That's breaking. I remember back on the days of when I actually had time to play FIFA, and people would list eBay
yeah,
listings of one pen with 50,000 FIFA points, because it was
yeah,
illegal to sell them. And I think that's where
yeah,
NFTs will change, because it will be a secondary market for in-game assets that people will be able to
yeah,
sell. And like they've talked about, is
yeah,
generational gaming, that you've got assets, you play something like Fortnite and you grow out of that and you want to get out of it, and you'll be able to trade those assets for maybe something in Call of Duty or something, that's what you want to go into, and that into a secondary market where the people that create the games may
yeah,
still take a 10% cut on all of that, but everyone will have that option to own a digital asset and actually own it, not it just be, well, you pumped money into this. And sports games are horrible for it. People pump thousands of dollars into this, and then the next year the new one comes out and all what you had was
yeah. It's terrible.
useless. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
NFTs is definitely, the gaming space is definitely not retro gaming, but it's definitely going
yeah,
to be an interesting space. So I've asked the guests previously, is if someone made a NFT of yourself, what would be the one
yeah.
physical characteristic you'd want it to have?
Oh, my teeth gap for sure. I love my teeth gap, and if you made something without my teeth gap, I'd be pretty annoyed.
Yeah, I love just owning, like, everyone has like different unique characteristics to themselves. It's like, that's me. Like, I think that's what
Yeah,
I love about. I love about. I think business brings that out in people. Is you don't have, in most businesses, you don't have time to go, "Oh, I've got to be this perfect person. I've got to run this perfect business." Guess what? Everyone
yeah,
just has, like, that's them, and who cares what, like. I
yeah,
love that. I think it's a great thing, and everyone has like
yeah.
different things about themselves that they just go, you know what, that's me, and I'm going to own it and make that me. So yeah,
Yeah,
I think
well, when you're the face of a business, I think you talked about in the last episode, when you're the face, you have to just go ahead and do it. Like, you're not
yeah,
gonna stop, and like when you're out there, you have to just be yourself and be what you want to be. And in that, I'm changing all the time with like my personal life and who I am, and that also, I guess, changes the persona of me for my business. And it's interesting to see how that works, and I hope it does correlate. But like, this is me, this is my business, so like. I
yeah,
feel like I'm a nice enough person, so nothing else should really matter. But
yeah.
you know,
Being
like,
authentic in business, it's just the only way to do it. And I love that
yeah,
with your business, you've put your face to it. Is that I think
yeah,
sometimes people like don't want to tell who they are, but I think putting your face to a business, it people trust people. We don't trust
yeah, it
companies or
helps.
names or anything like that. We trust people. So when you
Yeah,
know who's behind it, especially in small business, and you go, oh wow, I can get to know that person. I know who they are, and Something I
Yeah.
want to go back to because I didn't touch on it earlier was just briefly is that with your business, how do you go about marketing? Because I know you're quite active with Instagram and things like that. And how do you go about that side of things?
Recently I've pulled in a marketing consultant to use. I'm not too sure how it's going yet. I've used, like, before that, I used to just do a lot of, I used to just do Instagram, I do TikTok, Facebook, a few other like platforms here and there. And, I'd pour a bit of money into Google ads and just sort of that sort of stuff. But like, free form marketing, like with all the social medias these days, like I built, you know, most of my following and most of my customers from Instagram. Like I'd say 80% of my return customers are all from Instagram. And it's that's fun to be able to have, like, to be able to just put in the effort of marketing instead of just paying for it and having to be like extremely creative and think of them, this some amazing marketing thing that you got to pour, hundreds of thousands of dollars into. It's like I can just put up some marketing things and maybe they do really well on Instagram and I'm like, oh, I might put that away and use it for a paid marketing promotion or something
Yeah.
like that. And it is really fun. I do really like marketing, but sometimes I do wonder for small businesses, how worth it is to be pouring lots of money into some things. Sometimes it's not, I don't like to keep marketing budget as a lot. Like I like to just put my own effort into it, and the money can just sort of, maybe I'll put a bit of money into it, but I like the effort
Yes.
of it. So
It's
fun.
a challenge when you're marketing with not a lot of money, but what's really
Yeah.
cool these days is you can do it
Yeah.
through effort by just being active on as many social platforms as what you deem necessary. And
Yeah.
because of what you're doing is such a visual thing of, oh, this is a cool nostalgia here. That
Yeah.
Instagram thing, it works. And I can see you've
Yeah.
grown that. And again, it's
Yeah.
another thing we've talked about so much of the patience in business and Instagram marketing, social media marketing, it doesn't pay off on
Yeah.
day one. It's not like you put up a post of, you create an Instagram account, post a picture of a PlayStation 2 game and everyone buys it tomorrow. It's that
Yeah.
constant flow of content. And suddenly
Yeah.
6 months down the track, someone that's followed you for 6 months suddenly buys something
Yeah.
off for you and you don't even realize that. And I've had that through whether it's Facebook or whether it's through YouTube. Someone will contact me and they go, oh, I've been watching your stuff for 6 months or 9 months. Oh, I want to now
Yeah.
become a client. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know they were watching my content. But
Yeah. Exactly. It's
it
amazing.
pays off in the long term. And it's not a direct correlation to you'd put more effort in it, it happens day one. And paid marketing can be the same. And it's harder when there's money coming out of your account going, oh, Google ads or Facebook ads, and you're going, oh, I'm not getting the return
Yeah.
on it. But I suppose you can't track every dollar to go,
Yeah.
oh, this person, they seen that ad and 6 months later they made a purchase. So I think
Yeah.
that effort-based marketing is much more realistic when you start a business.
And you can really you can tell, like I can sort of see how my effort goes, and I from doing the effort based marketing for 8 months, like from like last year to maybe what, July or August. I just did marketing. I might have done a few promotional ads throughout there, maybe spent $1,000, which isn't a lot of money, across 8 months. And like you can see the community and the sales build just from that. And then when I started doing a more paid marketing, I was like, oh, I didn't even know if this is even working as much. And that maybe and then that's something just for me to learn and go, okay, maybe that's the wrong sales channel or I should move back. But just like I love TikTok. TikTok's
Yeah.
amazing. Like just you can see how many people see it. You can just you get this connection. Like I had a TikTok blog a few weeks ago, got 1 million views, and like that day, like my website was up to like 600 or 700, people were visiting it. And I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure it was a lot
crazy.
of people from America because it's all over the world. But
Yeah.
I definitely would have got the brand out there a bit more, and just it's really interesting. I usually get 100, 150 views on the website, so to get 700 is
Yeah.
insane. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's
I think
it's,
that's what
it's
people
fun.
don't realize is that the power of social media and social media marketing is crazy and it doesn't have to be all paid stuff. I had a TikTok a
Yeah,
couple of years ago and it wasn't anything business related, so it didn't lead to that. But me and my partner were messing around with a few games and stuff, and we
yeah, yeah.
did a TikTok and it got 3.4 million views or something. And
Jeez,
I remember,
insane.
and I grew to 20,000 followers just like that. And that
Yeah.
hasn't got me anywhere because I've been incredibly inactive on there, and I'm planning to jump back on there and try and do it business wise. But I remember my phone just going nuts that every time
Yeah.
I'd open the app, the notifications would just I had to turn
Yeah.
notifications off because it was just
Yeah.
like insane. And I think that's the crazy thing, that if
Yeah.
you run a business, it might not be long term, but it gets your brand in front of so many people. And
Yeah.
I think people just need to take a
Yeah.
modern approach to business, and one, follow a passion that you want to
Yeah.
do so you love it. Two, run it in a modern way.
Yeah.
And then three, market it in a modern way. And you do
Yeah.
those things and put the work in, and you'll be successful in the long term.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I couldn't recommend TikTok highly. Like everyone's Gary Vee, I swear, has been saying it for like the last 3 years, and it took me years to actually get into it. But once
Yeah.
I've finally gone, okay, just face in front of it, just do it, and it's so, don't be a perfectionist, just do dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Like the video that I got a million views of was one of the dumbest videos. I was about to go to bed and I was like, oh, this will be funny. This sound sort of works. And I
Yeah.
woke up and it was popping off, and I was like, this is so strange. Like
Yeah.
and everyone that I've talked to always agrees it's always the videos you don't think will work actually work, and it's the weirdest thing. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's
I've had a
TikTok,
few that
and
I'm just like,
yeah,
yeah, it's stupid stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'll do
yeah,
this. And next minute it's got
yeah.
250,000 views or something. I was like, okay. And then
What?
stuff that I put time into, and then it goes nowhere. And
Yeah,
you're like, it's just,
uh,
yeah, you can't predict
yeah,
business, you can't predict marketing, and you've just got to give
yeah,
things a try. The more you try, it might be one in
yeah,
10 things that work, but you do that. So I really appreciate you
yeah,
coming on here.
yeah. No worries.
Give your business a bit of a plug. Where's the best place to find you? We've just talked about TikTok. What's the TikTok handle?
I think it's retrogaming.au on TikTok, and that's the same on Instagram. So retrogaming.au. We're having heaps of giveaways on our stories at the moment. So come check out. We have heaps of new stock dropping, all mint condition. All the discs are super mint. All the manuals are in there. If you're looking for a good Christmas present, come grab one from Retro Gaming.
Yeah, definitely, and that's something we didn't touch on, but I love that you make sure everything is in great condition, and retro
Oh yeah,
stuff is so mixed on what you get, and that's why if people are looking for retro game style things, head over there, because I know that Matt makes sure that every product is going to be given to you in a way that you're like, oh, I'm really happy with what I got, because I'm sure it'll be
yeah,
a very much a mixed case across that industry. So that's something
yeah,
I really
so,
love, that you're a perfectionist when it comes to that. So I really
yeah.
appreciate you coming on here. And like I said, everyone
All
go
right.
and check out even if it's just some of the content that Matt's doing on Instagram and TikTok, just to see how people can market a cool, passionate business, and really see how much you can see he loves it and how that portrays across to his customers. So thanks again, Matt. Really appreciate your
Yeah.
time.
I really appreciate having me on, Ethan. Thank you very much.
All good. Thanks, everyone. I make sure you go check out some of the other episodes I've done, and I'll talk to you again soon.